kick in out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
You had that one cat, man. I forgot what his name, but he influences a lot of construction companies, and even the frying pan that you fry with, that have that black shit on it. What was it?
Non-stick.
Nah,
Non-stick
I forget what his name was, but they found out that his frying pans was causing a lot of deformities in children, and it was causing a lot of miscarriages, man. I forgot his fucking name, man. I think Karajas, I know his name, man.
Yeah, because didn't they do a documentary on Netflix about that?
Yeah, they did a documentary on it.
Yeah, I remember watching that.
I just forget what the name was.
Right, I'm trying to think of it.
And you know, it's crazy too. Like before that, there were no non-stick stuff, and shit worked perfectly. But they sat there and brought. It's fucked up because I would show those commercials I remember when the non-stick pan started first coming out. They would show the commercial, and it'd be like they put an egg on a pan, no oil in it. Of course, the shit's gonna stick, right? But if you just take care of your shit, it'll be non-stick on its own because you're like a cast iron pan. You're supposed to burn a little bit of fat in the pan so that the next time you use it, it's non-stick.
Well, look, that was a video that these Middle Easterns doing, and he was cooking for like hundreds of people, and he had some big ass fucking pan that was shaped in an oval type shape, and he cracked a whole bunch of eggs in it, man, and it didn't stick at all, man. So it's like, okay, why didn't his shit stick? And his shit didn't even look like it was made professionally. He just put the shit together. Why did his shit doesn't stick, but the shit over here does? Come on, man, you got to put two together.
People don't know how to care for that. Like even if it's not cast iron, those when you go to a professional restaurant, like those higher up echelon restaurants, they don't use non-stick. They're using those straight up metal pans, and every time they're done cooking, they have to burn fat in the pan,
right?
So it makes a layer of non-stick, and then they wipe it out, and it's ready for the next use. But Esau's like, you know what? We don't want to take that step. Let's rush this shit.
Right.
You know?
It was Teflon.
And
it's the DuPonts.
Yeah, the DuPonts. There you go. They had a big sign over here that said their name on this building. This building is being constructed.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Even when we were at the other location,
they had their name over there.
Grocery store, they had it all over there too.
And they was dumping a lot of waste in the water, and then they was taking to court for that. If you watch the Netflix series, they took them to court because of the matter. But the court that was set up for them to take was just to see if it was authorized or unauthorized for them to dump waste in that water. It wasn't a court for like a prosecution type thing. Wow. So why didn't they have a court set up to where they was going to be prosecuted for the shit that they was doing? Because that dude, what is his name, DuPonts again?
Yeah, the DuPonts.
He's them motherfuckers they billionaires, man. They billionaires, and they have a lot of product out here that they sell to you dumbass citizens, and they don't even know it, man. So when they do something like dump waste in water that contaminates the water, they're not going to go to jail for it because they made their major what you call them, their major business in America, man.
And you got the same elite type that's doing these vaccines, man, and they not gonna be
entrepreneurs. That's the word I was looking for.
I remember there was a court case. I remember there was a court case in California where all these people were getting cancer that lived in a certain area because this company was dumping their waste into these pits, these water pits. They had information that this stuff is going to cause cancer because they studied it on frogs, and they just allowed people to move in the area, and then all those people in the area ended up getting cancer.
Yep.
And then they came to that company and said, hey, we didn't have this until you guys started coming in this area.
Mm-hmm.
So then the company was just trying to pay people's cancer bills, and then people were starting to die too. So then a small law firm got involved, and there's a movie on it too. I wish I knew the name, but a small law firm got involved and got all the information and ended up getting the first win, and then it started a cascade event. So where that company was damn near demolished after having to pay everybody out.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a reason why, like the brother was saying, that as long as they were zoned to be able to waste, they could waste, no repercussions.
Oh, like that was a small town? I want to say they built I think it was around the 1800s, but there was a small town, and they built like satellites, and you know the electrical poles and shit like that. They built that around a small town, and the people that lived in that town, their kids was coming out deformed, and it wasn't happening before, but their kids was coming out deformed. Some dude grew some big warp type looking thing on his neck. Man, they was the child had like the nose and the missing type of face. Man, that was nasty, man. But they kept telling them that because they built that shit that emanates radiation and shit like that was affecting them. So they wanted them to remove that shit, and they never did. They even had them go to court for it and everything. They just wouldn't do it. Yeah.
When they started coming out with microwaves, that's why they started having them. That's why in those old movies that you see, you randomly have a parent say, "Get away from the microwave," but they still have the shit in their house.
Right.
It's dangerous.
It's dangerous. But that's the minds of these people, because Esau, he could build all of this, but everything he's building is affecting you. It's destroying your body even more. But because of people like what it benefits, it gives you light. You can have a microwave that cook food immediately. You know, because a lot of people want that fast to go shit. So when you put something in the oven, you know you gotta wait. Yeah. You know, you're gonna have to wait at least 30 minutes for it to finish.
But it be tasting better, bro.
Right, and it tastes better. But what people want, they want that shit thrown in a microwave. I want it here and I want it now. That's why you got nothing but all these fast food restaurants. But everything Esau's setting up for you is all bad for you, man. Because a lot of this shit emanates radiation, man. A lot of it emanates radiation. He gave you a cell phone. He gave you a cell phone that emanates radiation. And then it was a proven fact that they had a council about it, about how the phones emanate radiation from it. And what did he do? They didn't do anything about it. They just said, oh, this phone is giving people radiation. It's causing cancer. It's giving people cancer, brain cancer. It's giving you lung cancer, heart cancer, all these cancerous things. But look, we gonna still sell it anyway. That's the way of the wicked, man.
Same thing with cigarettes. It's happened the same thing with cigarettes.
Yeah.
Had doctors promoting it and shit, and people started getting cancer. They're like, why do people get cancer now? Like, the only new thing is everybody smoking cigarettes. I mean, you can't look at that. Like, Esau's a demon, man. He's a demon. Huh?
Because they ask themselves that, then it's like, well, it's only got 4,000 chemicals in there.
Plus.
Hey, bro, I wonder what's going on, man. Like, hey, bro, you smoking rat poison, man.
Yeah. Rat poison, dog shit. There's a chemical they use in cigarettes that's derived from dog shit. You think they're gonna go to a more sanitary means to get it? No, they'll just go down to your local fucking dog pound and shit.
Yeah.
Scoop it up, extract what they need,
and give it to you.
Smoke on this.
You have to look how many chemicals are in cigarettes. It's like
Ezekiel 32.
Yeah. Well.
This is in the book of Ezekiel chapter 32. I'll start at verse 1. It says, and it came to pass in the 12th year, in the 12th month, in the first day of the month, that the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, take up a lamentation for Pharaoh, king of Egypt.
And this is what we're taking up, a lamentation, man, against the Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, man. Who's the king of Egypt right now? Esau, Edom. You go to the book of Revelation, it tells you spiritual Sodom in Egypt, man. This place upholds everything that Egypt had, man. Everything, man. You know, so much so that these Edomites sat there and painted themselves as the Egyptians. And it was like, we are those guys, right? Go ahead, Al.
It says, and say unto him, Thou art like a young lion of the nations, and thou art as a whale in the seas. And thou camest forth with thy rivers, and troublest the waters with thy feet, and foulest the rivers.
Give me Obadiah. Somebody grab me Obadiah. Because that's what Esau's doing right now, man. Or what is it where it says he has death and hell?
That's Obadiah.
Yeah, Obadiah, what is that? 1 and 8?
1 and 8, I think.
Yeah, grab that real quick. Because like the brothers reading, man, he was like a whale in the midst of the sea. A whale is a large animal. You know, if you look at it, if you were able to see the ocean
I don't think that's Obadiah.
And you look down, and you can see a well in the water. You know, if you look hard enough, you'll be able to see one. So this devil is just like that, man. He's big shit in the world.
Is it over
Death.
there?
Yes, it's death. Yeah. Took that. It might be Habakkuk.
I think it's Habakkuk 2 and 5. Because it says he neither keepeth at home, for he is death and hell.
It
Yeah.
says, it's Habakkuk 2 and 5. It says, yet also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desires as hell.
And oh gosh, we was talking about her and she popped up.
Spoken to us this.
That ain't the same one, is
That
it?
is.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. That's it.
It's he's a
Wow.
He's a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who
What the
enlarges
fuck?
his desires as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people.
You see, so this is the same man, right? The same one that was as death and hell went in all the nations. It's the same one that troubles all the rivers. The rivers are talking about the peoples, man. You know, so this dude is the same one. What's going on?
Back in Ezekiel 32, it says, verse 3, thus saith the Lord power, I will therefore spread out my net over thee with the company of many people, and they shall bring thee up in my net.
You see? So the Lord's going to spread out his net with a company of many people, man. How is this going to go down? Grab me that Ezekiel 38. Grab me that Jeremiah 50.
All right, this is Ezekiel 38 and verse 4. It says, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth.
Now, who's this talking about? This is talking about Gog and Magog, right? Yep. Gog, Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal going into Russia. Turkey is going into Meshach. Just start at one. You know what? Just start at one.
This is Ezekiel 38:1. It says, and the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him.
Russia and Iran. Russia is Gog, Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, right? That's the big dog.
Verse 3, and say, thus saith the Lord power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor.
So the Lord is about to sit here and do something to cause attention to Russia to sit here and get some shit popping, man. This is the same thing that's talking about in Ezekiel the 32nd chapter that we just read, where he said he's going to cause a company of many nations, man. This is going into that. This is that company of many nations going on.
Even a great company with bucklers and shields.
Yeah. And when you go into a buckler, it's one of those small mobile shields. It only is enough room in that shield to cover damn near basically like half your forearm. It's a small shield, man. So when you don't have no buckler and shield, you a quick motherfucker, man.
Yeah.
You a bad
You gotta
dude,
be
man.
skilled.
You gotta be real skilled. That means you throwing a hit, you throwing a block, you might be throwing a punch with it, and getting everything back. You a bad motherfucker, man. Go ahead, huh?
It says, all of them handling swords. Verse 5, Persia, Ethiopia,
Iran is Persia, Ethiopia, you know who those are. Go ahead.
and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet.
Yeah.
Gomer and all his bands,
Yeah.
the house of Tagamar,
Togarmah. And that Gomer is going into Turkey, I believe. Go ahead, huh?
God, the house of Togarmah, of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee.
Yeah.
Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them.
See, so Russia's going to be a guard unto all these nations, and there's a lot more nations that are going to be involved that are encompassed by those other nations that were mentioned, because here it is, you have the BRICS nations. Now you have Russia have their first air base in Africa. just got that. That's a big move. That's a power move. You got Russia having big ties with South America, with Venezuela for that oil. You know, energy's moving, man. Things are moving around, and the Lord is making stuff pump up. You even had Russia sit here recently say, whatever the U.S. doing isn't going to bother us, because they were talking about the U.S. making up brand new hypersonic missiles.
Hey, Russia just tested the hypersonic missile.
Yep. So there's big things popping, man, and these nations are going to come against America. Grab me that Jeremiah 50 and 14.
This Jeremiah. Jeremiah 50, verse 14. It says, "Put yourselves in array against Babylon round about. All ye that bend the bow, shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she hath sinned against the Lord."
This is that great company coming together to do what? Shoot some shit, sparing no arrows. The Lord's telling all these nations, empty the clip. Grab me that 200,000 in the book of Revelation. What is that, 18?
What?
I think it's
200,000.
That's Revelations, the 9th chapter.
Trying to be a little Bible too, huh? I see you.
Be in your pocket.
I see you. Almost. You almost get it. Still got Bayon in there. Got to fold him up.
They were like, and the number, I got it here.
Start up a little bit.
Okay. This is Revelations 9. I'm going to start at verse 12. It says, "One woe is past, and behold, there come 2 woes more hereafter. And the 6th angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the 4 horns of the golden altar which is before the Most High, saying to the 6th angel which had the trumpet, Loose the 4 angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. And the 4 angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour, and a day, and a month, and a year, for to slay the 3rd part of men. And the number of the army of the horsemen it says, and the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. And I heard the number of them." Keep going.
Read that last part.
God, it says, Revelations 9 and 16, it says, "And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000.
Now those horsemen is talking about missiles, man. And there's going to be 200,000, meaning 200 million missiles, man. When you do the math. And the horses represent power, right? You know? So you got to understand that this is what the Lord's cooking up for that great company to come and do this. You know?
It says, "And thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them, having breastplates of fire, and of jacinth and brimstone."
Now, do the horses have breastplates of fire, jacinth, and brimstone? When you go in let me see how it says that. Jacinth. Where's it say? Jacinth and brimstone. So when you go into the color jacinth, it's just like the color fire, and the brimstone fire. So they have these breastplates that come with fire, meaning these warheads and their propulsions, man. This is exactly how those missiles were coming. This is how we know it's 200,000. It's talking about those missiles, man. Everybody's getting it up. The Lord said He had opened His armor. You have so many countries coming with missiles, man. Everybody's building missiles. Iran's not thinking about another nuclear deal. Iran's not. They said, fuck it, it's off the table. No matter what happens, no matter what their whatever peace their politicians try to get through them, they're not having it. You know? And Iran, the military has a big say in shit, man. It's not like here where they try to cut off the military. At the end of the day, the military is the one that's got to protect you, so they put them at the forefront. You know? Keep going, man.
It says, "And the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions, and out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone."
Come on. Out of their mouth issue fire, smoke, and brimstone, right?
Yep.
So out of the mouth is the warhead. You know, these things are going to happen, man. That fire and brimstone, man, it's going to rain. When you think about fire and brimstone, think about Sodom and Gomorrah. The Lord said He rained it upon Sodom and Gomorrah, right? And when those things hit the ground, it was burning. You know? It's going to be the same thing about this, man. You got that, Joel? Go ahead. Go with your precept first.
I'll read this first. This is Joel 2:1, and it reads, "Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm. In my holy mountain, let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Most High cometh, for it is nigh at hand."
Yep. The day of the Lord is not. This is close. This is close. All we're waiting on is a mark of the beast. We're waiting for Esau to make his rule. Time of Jacob's trouble. The mark of the beast. World War III. This is it. That's all we're really waiting on. Spiritual power is going to be in somewhere between that, but this is really all we're waiting on.
To prove that, like the brother was saying earlier, it says the scripture said, "I will lift up a standard." Man. When the troops come marching in, you know what I mean? You know they gonna the Most High said he gonna lift up a standard, and to prove, because the brother was like, women, you know what I mean, make a sandwich or make a bed or some shit. She fled. She heard that they was coming to the door. She fled to
She went halfway across the
yeah
world.
to Israel. Right?
No, she went to Egypt.
Okay, she went to Egypt, right? But what does that tell you? See, that tells you can't. Lack of faith is a feminine trait, man. You know, you should be in you know, you got to kind of blot out the flesh. But when you know they coming, it should be like some type of level of excitement. Like, okay, all right, I've been doing the work. Maybe it's that time for the. You start shaking and shit. You know what I'm saying? Your skin might start going. Like who was that off of
Bruce Leroy?
Yeah. You know. So that's what you should be looking forward to. You know, that's the good things you should look forward to, not damn what they gonna do. You know, showing you that it's men and it's women. Women don't have that type of faith or that understanding, and it's in having lack of faith is feminine, man.
Yeah, hey, she fled to Egypt. The scriptures tell you, woe to them that fled to Egypt for help. She fled to Egypt, bro. Yeah. Of all places, you went back to where you was getting fucked up first.
Hey, but they,
Simple,
no.
but they, just to kind of add to that, they actually had their whole congregation go out there though. It wasn't just that bitch.
Yep.
That's what they was pushing, man. They was pushing the flea doctrine among their congregation and shit, man. So it was men, it was women. They all flew, and then them motherfuckers ended up getting stuck out there. They left their jobs behind and all that. It fucked up their whole life. And now that's why they're using it as an excuse, saying, you ain't gotta believe that shit. It ain't gonna happen. They said it was gonna happen before. But you can't compare H1N1 to what's going on now, because they got the whole fucking world on lock behind this shit.
So read it.
Verse 2, it reads, "A day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of cloud, thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains. A great people and strong, there have not been ever the like."
See, there's great people and strong there have not been ever alike. It's talking about those missiles still, man. You know? Because they're going to roll like a troop, man. The Lord's going to shoot these things and they're going to march like a troop. They're not going to break ranks. The scriptures tell you that. There's more on it. Go all the way down to right. Read to 9.
Neither shall there be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. A fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame. Burn the land is as the Garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness.
And what can make somewhere that's like a Garden of Eden before and behind desolate wilderness? Missiles, man. We burn everything up. The scriptures tell you all the elements should melt with fervent heat. You know, those warheads, man, the propulsion system behind, hey, this is what is going to happen, bro. The Lord made these things. What's going on?
Yea, and nothing shall escape them. The appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and as horses shall they run.
The power, man. You're going to hear, all you're going to hear, and you might not even hear it because now you're hearing about hypersonic speed. Moving 8 times, these new missiles that they're coming up with is moving 8 times the speed of sound. That's what Russia's new hypersonic missiles are doing. It's 8 times the speed of sound. So you legit might just get hit and not even know.
To prove that too is that the scriptures tell you that it's going to be shot from one part of the earth to the other part of the earth. So it needs that speed and that power to reach over. You know, like a missile can get over here in like I think it was like up to 30 or 45 minutes. You know, from those other countries. So that's hella fast.
8 times. 8 times. That means you're probably getting sonic boom. That means by the time it hits, then you'll hear. So you might hear one hit, you still don't hear nothing, and then you hear. Like then you're like, fuck, this is what's gonna be happening.
Hey, because the thing is that you're gonna have missiles coming from the military bases. You're gonna have missiles coming from the submarines, and you're gonna have missiles coming from these jets. And they already showed you that they could put nuclear missiles on F-22s and F-35s. So if they could do that, those are the main missiles you're gonna hear. You're gonna hear those gonna be one of the first missiles that hit you as missiles coming from jets. Because jets is fast, they fast. So a jet can travel from the Middle East to America, and they could just make that move and scurry the fuck off.
In an hour.
In an hour.
And they can make it here in an hour. The jets will make it here in an hour, but then they're stealth jets too.
Yeah.
So then what? They'll get those first bombs going, and then here come the other ones.
And then you got the submarine ones and the ones from the military bases. What those do is they go up, and then they break off in the sky, and then they come down, and before they hit the ground, they explode. They have like a little, they have a pin. It's an electrical pin that connects with the metals within the nuclear missile, and then it explodes, man. And the atom in the missile look crazy as hell. It looks crazy. It's actually light, man. It's crazy.
What it does is you have. That's why the scriptures talk about the fire not blown, because in a thermonuclear warhead, it's you have the missile, and at the warhead, there's one delivery system just to get it up to heat, and then the other one is once it gets up to heat, is to basically compress everything for it to explode. So then that's why the scriptures talk about a fire not blown, because one part of it is just getting it up to, I think it's 1,000 degrees.
Yeah.
So one part is just to get it up to 1,000 degrees, and once it hits that 1,000 degrees, then it goes into the second bomb that encapsulates that one, and then it compresses everything and makes it more violent, where it actually starts to split the atoms, because you need the heat to split the atom, and then you get that big explosion. So the heat is just to sit here and make it so that it pushes out. You know, Esau's a demon, man. He made these things, but the Lord put it on him, man. Go ahead.
Like the noise of chariots on the top of mountains shall they leap, like the noise of a flame of fire that devoureth the stubble. As a strong people set in battle array, before their face the people shall be in much pain. All their faces shall gather blackness. They shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the walls like men of war.
You see? So all those missile defense systems, they're going to be, oh shit.
But the strongest hell, he almost broke my wrist.
They're going to just like, they're going to legit just like leap over everything. Those missile defense systems, the Iron Curtain, all these new missile defense systems that the U.S. are starting to come out with now, you know, they're going to legit just hop over those, you know? And this is going to be real. So you grab your preacher, grab your finish that.
Y'all fucking it all up.
This car fucking lost in the sauce, man.
Hey, yeah, that might be Gad, man.
Gad lost his fuck too.
Gad just needs to go drink under a tree somewhere.
Man, anyway, this is second address 16 to 13, because the brother had brought it out. How these missiles, the speed of the missiles, but they're gonna be shot from the ends of the earth. This is second address 16 to 13. It says, "For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss, when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world." Reading on, it says, "Behold, the plagues are sent, and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. The fire is kindled, and shall not be put out, until it consume the foundation of the earth."
See, and that's the thing, man, is that, our people take everything for a joke, and they don't see that we at the end of America. You don't see that we are at the end of a kingdom. You got all these things happening. So check it out real quick. You have the government, you got these people that's crying over stimulus checks. but you already in trillions of dollars in debt, and then you want more money to help you in your businesses. Well, guess what? If these people pull out more money to help you in these businesses, guess what? You get more debt coming in, then you're gonna have an economic crash. I sent an article about a week ago, and it tells you that if these motherfuckers pull out another stimulus check, you people are gonna go into economic crash, man. You know how the hell you gonna survive when this kingdom crash? How the hell you gonna survive when these people start firing more people? It's already millions of people out of job, which means there's no money coming within the economy, and then they want to shut down more jobs. You got people crying about not being able to dine in or dine out, right? So if you can't dine in or dine out, that company isn't making no money. That company got to eventually fall and let its employees go. So that's 6 to 10 more employees that's going to be out of the job, which means there's going to be no productivity happen within that section of that job, nor them people. Then what's that situation going to put you in? And then the government, they're trying to get Congress to pass another stimulus check, a 1.7 fucking trillion stimulus check to put in you people pockets, which is going to be no more than $1,200. You're going to get a $1,200 check after a $1.7 trillion check, and 300 billion of that dollar gotta go within you dumbass people, man. But you playing around and you playing games and shit. That because what's happening is that people's not paying attention to the times. You not seeing what times we in, man. You not seeing that the kingdom that you love and you so comfortable with is going down, man. The scriptures tell you, for the city of confusion is broken down, man. This place is broken down. You know, this place have nothing but confusion in it. You got homosexuals, transgenders, you got lesbians, you got all this shit happening, and you don't see we at the end of a kingdom. You don't see that we're living in the times of Sodom and Gomorrah, man. We're living in the times of Sodom and Gomorrah. What the Most High do to Sodom and Gomorrah? He destroyed that shit off the face of the earth, man. He said for their wickedness was let me get Genesis 13:13. Let me get Genesis 13:13. And then you got this, and this is what's wrong with Jake, man. Jake too goddamn comfortable here in America because Jake see all these buildings going up. Jake see these people with jobs. To him, Jake still see what he would call normalcy, man. And because Jake still see some sort of normalcy, Jake still want to drink under a tree. Jake still want to get fucked up out of his minds and go to clubs, commit adultery, and do all this wickedness when this place is going to shit, man. This place is going to shit. Go ahead,
This is Genesis 13:13. It says, "But the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners before the Lord exceedingly."
There you go, man. The men of Sodom was wicked. Exceedingly, man. They was wicked as all hell, man. Everything that's going on in America,